In her second novel titled Blue Blood, author Uttara Chauhan explores the lives of individuals ensconced in the royalty of India. The collection of 8 stories captures the personal triumphs and tragedies of former royals as they navigate the space between past glory and the reality of the present. Uttara Chauhan is here with me today to talk about this latest novel. Thanks so much for being here, Uttara.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Rima.
So my first question, how did you go about researching this novel? Like, I understand that you interacted with a lot of royals.
Well, I think anybody who's been to India would have had the opportunity to visit former palaces. As you know, at the time of independence, there were nearly 600 former royal families, and each former princedom had at least one palace. So I too was very, very intrigued by these old palaces, and I also had the opportunity to interact informally with members of some of these families. But apart from that, those interactions led me to start reading very, very widely. And I realized that the literature about former royalty is mainly about their past, that is the pre-independence era. And secondly, it mainly touches their public lives. So the question for me was, well, what happened after independence? And secondly, I wanted to write about the royals as ordinary human beings, not the larger-than-life exotic creatures that some of the books portrayed them as.
And now your title story is called Blue Blood. That's the second story in the collection. And it's about a British woman who falls in love and marries an Indian Maharaja. And now you take the voice of a tour guide to tell the story. I'm interested to know exactly why you took that approach. Why that particular voice?
I've actually used that technique in more than one story. I thought an interesting way of understanding the monarchy was to look through it through the lives of people who served the monarchy. So the story of of Blue Blood through the tour guide. There's also a story called The Last King of Portugal, which is narrated by a chauffeur, driver of the former king. And Different Strokes is also the story of a former princess's personal assistant. So I thought that technique of looking at the lives of monarchy through those who served it would be an interesting way, an interesting perspective.
And looking at monarchy is such a fashionable thing right now. I mean, we've just had the royal wedding. Do you think our fascination with royalty and the monarchy has been reconnected?
I think it's an eternal fascination. I think irrespective of the fact that we live in modern democracies, we are so fascinated with the idea of royalty. I think it's not just because I think in Canada, we're a constitutional monarchy. But I think I think there's a lot to do with the notion of celebrity, the commercialism that's attributed to that, as well as I think at the end of the day, we just love stories of kings and queens, and we want the prince to get his princess and for everybody to live happily ever after. I think we still believe in fairy tales.
Now, for people who don't know, you're a policy analyst for the government by day, and you also write. How do you balance the two, writing and working full-time?
I don't write every day. I write mainly on weekends or time off. But writing is something that really keeps me going. It allows me to be in other places, to be other people, and it offsets sometimes the dullness of the day job. Not that my job is is very exciting, but it allows me to be in a different place in a different time, and I make sure that I organize my time such that I'm able to pursue it.
Okay, and so now you have a book reading on May the 30th. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I'll be reading from my book at the Ottawa Public Library at the main branch downtown. I am having a conversation with Dr. Stephen Inglis, who recently curated the Maharaja exhibition at the Art Gallery of Ontario. So Stephen and I are talking about former royalty from 2 different perspectives. He's an anthropologist and an art historian. I'm a writer of fiction, so we're going to talk about this subject on May 30th,
Wonderful.
6 o'clock at the Ottawa Public Library.
And for people who are interested, where can they get a hold of the book?
I'll be selling copies of the book at the reading. The book is widely available online at Amazon.com. It's currently available in bookstores in India, and I'm working very hard to make it available in bookstores in Canada as well.
Okay, well, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you, Rima. Pleasure.
Pleasure.